Welcome, everyone, to the Greener Innovative Energy Services Seminar. The presentations today, I think, are very timely, given not just the urgent need we're all aware of to address energy usage in response to climate change, but also given the recent soaring costs of fuel and concerns around supply. So thank you all very much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy seminar. So just to give you a small bit of background on the Greener project, we are a collaboration of 3 NPA, Northern Periphery and Arctic projects. And our goal is to increase awareness of the energy efficiency and renewable solutions that have been successful in housing and public buildings in the remote areas of the NPA regions. So this seminar is one of our ways of sharing that information about successful services that are being used across our partnership. So my name is Anne-Marie McLaughlin. I'm representing ERNACT, based in County Donegal in Ireland, and I am presenting this seminar to you today along with my colleagues from Centria University and University of Oulu, Heidi and Markku. And we, between the 3 of us, are representing the 3 projects that are part of Greener. So LECO is working to help generate self-sufficient local energy communities. They're represented by Centria University. The second of the 3 partners projects is HCHP, promoting combined heat and power systems for individual rural households in remote areas. And HCHP is represented by University of Oulu. And the third is SmartDic, which has created and is currently piloting a smart energy management model to guide deployments of energy efficiency efforts with increased community engagement. And that is the one that I'm representing on behalf of ERNACT. So my colleagues Heidi and Markku will be introducing the speakers who have graciously agreed to present their services to us today. So with that, I will go ahead and hand over to Heidi to introduce our first speaker.
Thanks a lot, Anne-Marie. I'm Heidi from Centria. Good afternoon, everyone. And today our first speaker is Silva Herrmann. Silva works for Jokkmokk Municipality and Lapland's Kommunalförbund. And Silva lives very up north in Sweden, in real rural and remote area. Silva is working as an energy expert, supporting communities, organizations, and also individuals in finding, implementing, and funding climate-friendly energy solutions. And today, Silva gives us a presentation about energy services and local solar communities in northern Sweden. So you are very warmly welcome, Silva, and the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for this introduction. I want to share my presentation with you now. And as Heidi already said, we were a partner in the LECO project, Local Energy Communities. And what I will talk about today and now is our focus within that project, which was on solar, on photovoltaic, which is a technology which is not so widely spread in our area so far. And there's good reason for that. Actually, I will talk about that a little bit later. First, I want to give you an idea about what Jokkmokk is, where we are situated, and how the situation is here. But we have a quite tight schedule, so I will maybe rush through that a little bit. But if you have questions, I think we have some minutes after my presentation to talk about if you want to come back on something. As Heidi already said, Jokkmokk Municipality is located on the very north of Sweden at the Arctic Circle. And we are, when it comes to square kilometers, we are a very big community or municipality, but when it comes to number of inhabitants, it's very small. We are about 5,000 inhabitants only, and that makes 0.3 inhabitants per square kilometer. But we are not spread evenly in all this area. A large part of the municipality is actually protected area, national parks. So the inhabitants live in some smaller communities. The biggest one is Jokkmokk itself, but we have also smaller villages, and one of that village were our pilot project within the LECO project. What is important to know for the situation here is that we are situated along the Luleå River, which is a big river and is used for electricity production, water power production. And of the 10 largest hydropower plants in Sweden, 7 are located in Jokkmokk. And the river supply is about 25% of all hydropower energy in Sweden. And there you need to know that hydropower is about 50% of the electricity production in Sweden, or 45%. So that's quite a lot. We have a lot of production, but we don't use that much so far in northern Sweden. And that is relevant even for the question, is photovoltaic, is there, on the one hand side, a demand? Do people want to invest in photovoltaic here, and is it economically feasible? The reason for that is that Sweden is divided into different areas when it comes to the electricity market, with different levels of prices for electricity. And in general, the level of prices or the price for electricity in Sweden is relatively low and has been so for a very, very long time compared with other countries. And this is specifically true for the north of Sweden, which makes it difficult to get new renewable energy production economically feasible. What is, however, very established way of producing electricity, that is district heating. That's true for many communities and municipalities, cities in Sweden. Jokkmokk has also, and that's the central village, Jokkmokk, which has the district heating. It's bioenergy, wood chips and pellets. So here we have, that's only heating, but as I said, photovoltaic is a completely different story. What you see on the picture here is kind of the only municipal PV production that we have, a very small plant, part of an energy efficiency project that we did just to show outside like there's something happening. But after that, which has been installed in 2015 or 2016, nothing more has happened for the municipality. There are some private investors in photovoltaic even before we started with the LECO project. So what I want to talk about is the Jokkmokk Community Energy Service. And I told you already that we have small villages around here, and we had one village which we had as the official LECO pilot, and that was the small village of Vullerim. However, we worked even with another village, which is not part of the Jokkmokk municipality, but part of Pajala municipality. It's a neighboring municipality. I just want to mention that because these two villages choose a little bit different approaches, and both are part of our community energy service, have been and still are. What we did within the LECO project, we first checked for our pilot villages how much energy do they need today, both when it comes to electricity or heating. And we also did a very, very rough calculation about the renewable energy potentials. Just to have an idea, is there any chance or where are the areas where we need to work on, where are the biggest potentials, and even give an idea about the overall situation for the inhabitants. In the LECO project, we had a lot of trainings, educations. We had also study trips, 2 study trips to Germany, where our pilot communities were part of. And we were giving support in developing business models for local energy businesses. And what is still available is a free information hub with all results, guidelines, checklists, models. And we established during the LECO project a collaboration with the Municipal Energy Counseling Service. And honestly, that was an easy thing to do because it's me working in both. And the LECO project has been we finished the project a year ago but the Energy Counseling Service, which took over after the LECO project, is still working and will so for the next years. So that's a good possibility to keep things going. In the picture below, you see a picture from the study trip, and the picture to the right on this slide is an announcement that we did for the village of Vullarim, asking if they want to become a pilot within the project, the LECO project. And that was a start for our collaboration here. And we had a high interest. There were many people coming, and based on that meeting, the decision was made that we want to work on solar, probably. And we try to involve more people than those coming to this first meeting by having a questionnaire, which we actively spread to each household and help them to answer that questionnaire even. And when we did an evaluation, it was the result was that actually the interest for photovoltaic as a technology was biggest. So that would be that we were working on. As I said, we tried also to check which kind of energy do they need right now in Vullarim, and how much is it. And what we find is that electricity is there's a high need for electricity. So both for heating and for other use. And the thing is, when it comes to that many houses in Vullarim are from the 50 and 60, maybe 70s, and they have a pretty bad standard, and they use direct electric heating. And that's the reason why there's so much electricity needed. And as you can see from the other table on the right, that's a lot of private homes, but also partly public buildings, which have quite a high use of electricity. So what's the reason why photovoltaic is not so established in northern Sweden and in our area? And there are different reasons for that. One is the geography. We have a lot of sun in the summer, but we have very little sun in the winter. And it's in the winter when it's cold, and people want cold and dark. So the need for electricity is obviously much higher in the winter, and there you won't get one from the solar panels. Another problem here in the region is that the houses have a very low value, and that's specifically true for the smaller villages. I can give you an idea. I bought my house, and that's one in the center, for 40,000 euros. So that's not too much. And given the prices for photovoltaic, so it is for some might be that the photovoltaic plant costs almost as much as the whole house, because prices are quite high, and that's because for the PV installation even today, and that's because we don't have many local businesses or much of good practice and innovation potential here. So it's mostly Vattenfall selling PV, and they have actually quite pride. They are actually quite expensive. And then we have and had low prices for electricity, which makes it also difficult to get PV economically feasible. It would be better if you had a possibility to sell the electricity to other users, maybe, or get a better price by feed-in tariffs. There are feed-in tariffs with a lot of legal restrictions, but they are not very high. And it's also like that selling to another user, maybe neighboring Europe, PV plant has not been possible. So difficult to get economy for your installation. And our idea was to work on a corporational PV plant, to have a bigger installation with which would be less costly per installed kilowatt, and or that some people buy together without any formal business behind that, but just that they coordinate and talk together with one of the possible installers to get a better price. And that's the way like the pilot village in Kopilompolo did that. So there were installations done separately from each other, but a little bit coordinated. They had some benefits from not everybody needed to check everything on its own. They could share information, they could share knowledge, contacts, and so on, and got a little bit better price because, there were many installations under a short period of time. In Vullerum, the idea was to build a community plant, which has not happened yet, and that has to do with the pandemic. There are many older people, elderly in Vullerum, and it was just not possible to meet and to go on with an installation. So that's what we have to talk about, or what we can share right now. We have in Kopilompolo both a plant on the community building and several private owners invested, and we have a good concept for a cooperative plant in Vullerum, and we have the online hub. Oops, no, that I think we don't have time for that. How do I get on now? I don't know. Okay, but just to come to the end, I think things have changed now for several reasons, and it will be easier to start the cooperative plant, but also to get more privately owned photovoltaic plants right now, and we see that actually because we get more and more questions and can share the results from the LECO project to more and more people. The interest is much higher now, and there are some obvious reasons. We have much higher prices, energy prices after the pandemic and due to the Russian war in Ukraine. I also think that energy security is high on the agenda, and that's true both for the private people or companies, but obviously in the European Union as such. Then things changed, and that was done already before the war. There is a new legislation in Sweden which allows sharing photovoltaic electricity between neighboring buildings, which will make it much easier, because you could have the plant on one building, but you could share with your neighbors, so that you have more like that you can use a higher share of the produced electricity in your own home, which gives the best economic. But I think also that even if it's quite slow still, but there are more and more electric cars coming, even here in Jokkmokk, and there we have the big advantage that this is electricity from your photovoltaic plant, which you can use during the summer directly, and it will replace fossil fuels, which are pretty expensive now. So there I see a big advantage for photovoltaic in the years to come. And I also think that we in the future will see more and new innovative services coming up, which combining photovoltaic with smart metering and demand side management, which also will be more relevant for securing for energy security, I think, and for the higher the share of renewable will be in all the European countries. So that was what I wanted to tell you now, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer if I can.
Thank you, Silva. We do have one question in the chat from Arto, asking if you have considered the possibility of storing the energy from solar.
We have during that period for the project, it was just not economically feasible. It was very expensive, and of course you can store, but not from the summer to the winter. It wouldn't solve too much of our problem.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for your presentation. We will move on to our next speaker, Marco.
Yes, thank you. Transport companies and car owners are struggling with high diesel and petrol prices. One way to reduce transportation costs is to switch to using biogas as a fuel. Arto Rautevaara from Ecc has done several gas conversations for passenger cars and trucks. Arto, please tell us more.
Hello. Welcome to see my presentation about biogas and how it's used in different applications and how you can turn your old car into environmentally better even than electric car, or your truck more profitable. So my name is Arto Rautevaara and from Ecc. Yeah, never done this before over here, so hopefully I'm not struggling too much, and sorry if I'm being boring reading my slides from the slides. Okay, gas, which is methane and is form of an energy like any other carbon-based energy, and it creates motion by burning with help of oxygen. And I think the most important thing is how it's produced and how it's used.
Arto, sorry to interrupt you, but we're seeing your first slide. Are you sharing on another screen?
Oh, is it a little bit slow motion with my slides? Wait a second. Is it now changing?
Yeah, and just while I've already interrupted you, can you just close the properties on the right side of your screen so that we'll be able to see more of the.
Wait a second. Like these chats.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Is it better?
Thanks.
Wait a second. This, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So, okay. Bio or natural gas. The difference with biogas and natural gas is how it's produced. Biogas is produced from organic waste and it's refined. Natural gas is pumped from the well, or rather it comes with its own pressure from inside the earth. And chemical mark is the same, CH4. So our main natural gas comes from Siberia, surprise, surprise. As natural gas is claimed to be fossil fuel like oil, it burns much cleaner than other fossil fuels, 25% of less CO2 emissions, and small particles are almost non-existent. So there's no need refining natural gas nor filtering the exhaust gases. Biogas is renewable and can be produced also in smaller scale, which is very important, and used in many applications practically without CO2 emissions. And the price of the production is stable while the waste is always waste. In my opinion, now at least is the latest time for municipalities and government should wake up and support not only the big companies like Gasum here in Finland, but also smaller companies like farmers and people who have a lot of organic waste. And decentralized energy production is also one way to support our welfare, like in Sweden, like in Finland, in very versatile ways. There's lots of different uses how we can use biogas. You can use practically like diesel or gasoline to produce heat and electricity, likewise large scale or small scale, and anything in between. And lots of Finnish companies use it in process industry. So we can replace part of the natural gas with biogas. So it has lots of uses. And of course, energy for cars and trucks. You can buy a new truck or car or make conversions to replace fossil fuels. Using biogas is as clean as wind energy or solar energy, and lobbying is on its harm's way to prevent car industry to develop or to build new clean cars using gas. I don't know why is that, but that's the politics right now. Better luck with trucks, since there's lot more tensor need for the energy. And the truth is that at the moment, there's no singular solution to save the planet. We should use all possible means to help our environment. And how to store gas. CNG, CBG, like I said, it's the same thing, produced differently. Compression for 200 bars. LNG, LBG is liquefying gas in very low temperature, minus 162 Celsius. Also in national pipeline, there's a main pipeline which has pressure up to 50 bars. It can also contain little reservoir. LNG ships to the terminals. I think we have two ready ones and one coming. And they maybe should build more. I don't know. And here's like 1 cubic meter of gas equals 1 liter of gasoline, and that's in the environmental like pressure. And it's also approximately 700 grams of gas. and 1 kilogram of gas is 1.5 liters of gasoline or 1 liter of diesel. And 1 liter of LNG is approximately 450 grams of gas. I just put them here so you can have an idea what is the intensity of the energy. Liquefied or compressed. So we can use different types of cylinders, and there's type 1, 2, 3, and 4. Type 1 is heaviest and the cheapest. Type 4 is lightest and more expensive. That's it almost goes by the price, like if you have €1 for type 4 cylinder, you may have €6 for type 4 cylinders. So it's approximately 6 times more expensive. And LNG, it's in its own field because it's very cold. It needs different kind of storing, and at the right side of the slide there's a one LNG tank which is used in the trucks. Conversions. Most common conversion is to make gasoline car to work with gas. These cars can be almost 100% gas cars. It always uses a little bit gasoline because it warms up, because from 200 bars you have to warm up the reducer a little bit so it works properly, so it doesn't freeze up. You can use either methane or LPG, though in Finland LPG has been illegal always, and it's very expensive to get caught by the police. And bio-LPG, as it's produced, but in Holland by Neste, but it's not brought back here in Finland. Then there's diesel dual fuel conversions, not as common, but hopefully these truckers will notice how to save the planet and reduce a little bit their expenses on fuel costs. Savings can be approximately 25%, as it uses approximately 50% of diesel and 50% of gas. And the gas is relatively lower price now than it used to be before the estimation of this price savings. Then there's also new tech, straight injection gasoline cars. They are harder to convert. They use always minimum 25% of gasoline, also because they need a little bit cooling, and they're a little bit harder to convert if it's possible. Not all the cars are possible to convert, unfortunately. Oh. And then how much it costs to install? Well, Traficom supports normal cars with €1,000 conversion support. I don't think it is with the trucks, but of course we can find out. And regular car without this support cost approximately from €3,000 up, depending how big the engine is and what technology used and what type of cylinders and how many of them you need. And diesel vans, which is approximately the size, it's feasible to start converting van or small trucks from €4,000. And diesel trucks, the bigger trucks, are approximately from €8,000 up. Also available with LNG, but that price tag is considerably higher because the tanks are very expensive. Well, also type 4 cylinders are expensive, so I don't know which one is better in this case. There are a lot of pros and few cons, and our tax office reminds us with the small price tag every year or twice a year, depending how you want to pay them. And I don't know what it's called in English, but it's something like energy tax for the vehicles, because they compensate diesel tax for the truckers with this. So the diesel price is lower for the truckers, used to be lower for the truckers than it was with gasoline. But energy price is considerably lower, so you will save it quite quickly. 5,000 kilometers per year is enough for the normal car to be plus minus. And if you drive like 10,000, it's already feasible to convert your car. And of course, truckers drive their trucks like hundreds and thousands per year, so the savings can be done in a year or year and a half. Cons a little bit. Energy is a little bit unknown and undervalued as a biofuel, and the production is kind of centralized because it needs lots of bio waste, organic waste. And I think most of you already read the pros and cons. So thank you for your time, and you can have few questions now. And I think you can have also this slideshow from whomever, and you can come back to me, ask any questions about my presentation and what's in there's lots of some stuff also in the web page that I don't have here, so you can also ask about them.
Okay, thank you, Arto. Excellent presentation. Actually, I have one question. There are still many trucks moving on the roads in good conditions. You said that the gas conversion for the truck is about 8,000 euros. Can you estimate how many gas conversions can be done at the cost of a new gas truck?
Yes, approximately 15 gas conversions, because it's 150,000, a little bit less, a new gas truck, and you get a little bit also support from the government to buy a new one. Was it 12,000 euros? And if you have, for example, 15 trucks in your fleet and you want to buy new gas trucks, it's a quite expensive bit, but you can, for example, convert 13 best of them and buy 2 new ones. So it's a lot of saving and using your, how to say, assets till the end of their life cycle in the company.
Okay, thank you, Arto.
Thank you very much. That was a really interesting presentation. If you want to add your email address either to the presentation or send it to me, I can include that when we send out the slides. There were a couple other questions in the chat, but I think you've addressed them to some degree. And if you don't mind, Arto, if you can just reply in the chat so that we can make sure we get the rest of the presentations.
Yes.
Have time for everyone else. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, moving on to our next speaker.
Okay, thanks. The next speaker is Kirsi-Maria Forsel, and she comes from Motiva Ltd, where she works as an expert specialized in projects linked with buildings, energy efficiency and finance. And Kirsi-Maria has many years of experience in communications and advisory programs, and she has been involved in launching consumer energy advice services here in Finland. Kirsi-Maria is currently leading the information forum on building technology that links almost 20 organizations in promoting energy efficiency in heating, ventilation and cooling system. Welcome, Kirsi-Maria, and the screen is yours.
Thank you, Heidi. Let me just share my presentation, and we'll get on the way. There we go. Really good afternoon to everyone from me also. My name is really Kirsi Maria Forsel. I come from Motiva, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about, well, mostly about what Motiva does, what kind of a company we are, and then just give you a brief overview of, for instance, our advisory services and training services that we do have online. So we'll talk a little bit about Motiva, advisory services, and online training. Just a few slides on Motiva if you're not familiar with us. Motiva is a 100% state-owned company. We are a bit different in that way, in the scheme or the sphere of so to say, European energy agencies. We are really a company, but we do operate with and cooperate with a lot of energy agencies in Europe. So close cooperation on that field. Our main deal is sustainable development, and this is why we are in existence. Motiva has altogether in the group, we have 72 employees. We're not a big company. Of that, the majority of us work for the parent company, Motiva Oy. We do have 2 subsidiaries, one of which is involved in handling the Nordic environmental labeling, Joutsenmerkki, the Nordic Swan, and they are really working on that altogether. And then we have one other subsidiary, Motiva Services, that is really dedicated into working with businesses and municipalities. What do we do? Who are we? What do we do? We have a specific mission in Finland, that is to promote sustainable development in the society. This is why we really are in existence. We work with in very close partnerships with the government, ministries, authorities, with the municipalities and businesses in Finland. And we really bring the information, bring the advice, bring information about measures, how to make sustainable choices to all of these actors, as well as the citizens. The consumers are a major part of our work. As a company, we are really committed to sustainable development goals, the Agenda 2030 goals, the carbon neutrality goals that have been set up in Finland. We really work towards energy transition, circular economy, and really work really closely into bringing about the systemic change that we need as a society to really reach our goals of the future. Our work centers around these kind of like pillars of energy efficiency, really bringing the first fuel of everything. So this is the way to really speed up energy transition, also just to supporting the sustainable consumer choices that we make every day as private citizens. That's really one of the biggest parts of our work. We work in materials efficiency, bringing about circular economy, and really in all of our ways that we work, we want to bring about the systemic changes in the society, be it policy, be it measures, be it really ways to look at things and to really make changes in private lives, but also in the companies and municipalities that we work with. Energy efficiency really is the key to everything, and we do work very closely with the national programs. Motiva is very heavily involved in the voluntary energy efficiency agreement scheme in Finland, and also in developing the energy audit schemes, the methods of how to analyze and how to find out the ways to save energy. We work or we do a lot of joint ventures with various actors, be them businesses or municipalities, and then linking them with the central government to really find the best ways, the best methods to really push forward energy efficiency. The energy efficiency scheme has been in Finland since the 90s. It started in 1997. This is now the third period of the agreements, and really the scheme covers a majority of the energy use in Finland, and really is the primary measure for Finland to reach the energy efficiency goals set by the EU also. The savings annually are really remarkable. Impact assessments, really, these are one of the key things that we do. They prove the effectiveness of the many methods and measures that we do. The key part of our work here is being there for the government, working with the government on the strategies and programs needed to really support the low carbon economy. Our latest work, we have been involved in developing the long-term renovation strategy for 2020 to 2050, and also the medium-term climate change policy plan that has really that just came out last month. But also the key to really seeing the changes and seeing the impacts is monitoring, and we do the monitoring for instance, energy efficiency agreements and also energy audits in Finland. As I said, we do work in cooperation with the energy agencies in Europe, but also on the national level, in the concerted actions projects linked with the Energy Efficiency Directive and the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, and are at the moment preparing to hold in cooperation with the national coordinators and the projects a plenary meeting in May, in which we really talk about how to bring about energy efficiency in the building sector forward. Consumers, we are all consumers. We all make our decisions every day, and we need the information on how to make sustainable choices. This is something that we've been working very long and have established energy advisory programs and services for consumers throughout the years. And what we do is we try to find the best practices for the consumer, making the choices easier during our everyday lives, and also at that piloting new ways to bring about advice. We have an artificial intelligent bot on our services to really kind of make it easier for the consumer to find the information that they need to make the choices in their everyday life. Systemic change is not something that happens on its own. It needs to be pushed forward. And one of the things that we do is we really look into innovations, experimentation, and cooperation in that way that when good things are experimented, we gather the results, the experiences, and then we scale it up. We help businesses, we help municipalities in scaling up good methods, good practices, and pushing them forward and making the results multiply in the society. One of the ways that systemic changes are brought forward is also through procurement. And Motiva is involved in the Keino Competence Center for Public Procurement. And we really want to see the change in how and what is procured, and how can we change also the production of things when we really look for sustainable materials and sustainable equipment. Material efficiency and circular economy is something that is really on the rise and has been rising for last years. We are involved in developing commitments on material efficiency. I think our latest endeavor was published a few days ago on food industry, and we're really working closely with them to really push forward the changes in the food industry to see materials efficiency really come about. A few years ago, with the Ministry of Environment, we launched a marketplace for materials where waste materials, usable waste materials and byproducts can be marketed to those actors who need them in their own production. So really a marketplace for materials in that way. As I said, Motiva, we've launched a few of the advisory services for consumers. We've done this already for over 10 years. We have really a consumer advice program, operates on the internet. We have emails, a Facebook site called Let's Talk Energy, and a telephone line so consumers can contact us and ask questions and get answers in their everyday life. We also look into the energy performance certification, which is one way to affect changes in the buildings. And we offer advice to consumers, but also realtors in their work when they're selling and renting or making rental agreements, that they can use this information also. But we also take care of the expert who are making the EPCs to really ensure that the material and the EPCs are really of good quality. We started an advisory service for wood construction for public sector to really push forward wood construction in Finland, and it's been linked to this service. We also have training services, and we do meet up with municipalities to offer them advice on wood construction and how to bring wood buildings into life in municipalities. We also coordinate, funded by the Energy Authority of Finland, a regional advisory service. So we have consumer energy advice in all the 18 regions in Finland. And Motiva acts as the coordinator, and we produce materials for consumers, but also for the advisors. We offer training, and we do a lot of promotion of the energy advice service. Let me see. Just a short look on some of the things that we do online for training. This is something we've started a few years ago. We offer online training services with different types of target groups. So people, consumers can come on our site, look into how to make their home more efficient. Procurers can find out more about how to make public procurements more sustainable. We have started a training program for construction professionals and builders, really concentrating on the construction plastics. And we have information for energy auditors, also building and process energy experts on surveys and energy audits. All the materials that we do, unfortunately, are in Finnish, but the courses themselves are mostly free of charge, and the only requirement is a registration. So those really are something that we do recommend people to look into. That's it for me. I think I took a little bit more time than I expected.
Okay, Mario already. So our next speaker is Mario Silander from the Finnish Homeowners Associations. The association does very valuable work which benefits not just small house and vacation house owners, but all citizens in Finland and even beyond. Let Mario tell us more about their work.
Thank you, Markku, and good afternoon also on my behalf. And let's see how it now turns out with my voice and my presentation.
So far, so good.
This is always so exciting how it goes. And then like that, can you see my presentation?
Yes.
All right, good. So thank you for the invitation to come and tell a little bit more about the Finnish Homeowners Association. And I have here a couple of slides and I can share them with you afterwards. And I'm not going to go through all the details in here. So you can find them later on if you're more interested. And about our association, actually, we just yesterday became 75 years old. So we have a very exciting anniversary year going on. And just a couple of words on my background. I have my own experience on building and renovation sector. We have built and renovated 4 houses and 2 vacation homes. So I have been a member of this association quite some time. And also in my background, there is a citizenship association leadership, and I have been on different subjects. And now I have started in January here in the Homeowners Association. So this is just briefly, and here are all my information if you want to get back to me afterwards. But our association is actually very importantly a non-profit and independent, and we are non-political national citizen association. And this has been all our years and decades our mission. The key operations can be divided actually in 4 pieces. We act on national and international and especially EU lobbying level. We provide information and services such as advising in areas of law, building, energy, and renovations. We offer services to our local associations that they can operate with the members in different areas of Finland. And also we have various membership benefits such as discounts on services. We organize events and webinars nowadays, as we all do. And then also I would like to mention that we are a member of the International Union of Property Owners that works in Europe. And we kind of are together 28 European countries of property owners in different sectors, including public, private, investment area, and so on. And when we talk about the small house, if we think about our name, the idea is that the small houses people live in single family or detached houses, semi-detached houses, small terraced houses, and they have also vacation homes. So that is kind of like the area that we work with. And as Markku said, that we have lots of members. At the moment, we are around 70,000 members. So we are one of the biggest citizen associations in Finland. We have 14 districts, and then we have more than 230 local associations. And for example, in Oulu area, there is one. And we have lots of active members, more than 1,100 at the moment, and they act there in their own interest on the area where they live. And if we think about still one more bit about the buildings and people in numbers, so we can say that we represent over 1.1 or 1.2 million households and more than 2.7 million family members. And then on vacation home side, there are more than 500,000 vacation homes in Finland. So it is a wide variety of people and different kind of buildings. And even more, if we think about the ownership segments in Finland, over 66% of people own their home and they are not such as renters. And one more information piece of our association is the age profile, as many other associations also nowadays, but we have quite a, we could say, middle-aged profile. And you can see the 80s in the lower part. Why we are working is that we want to enable better housing, construction, and renovations. And when we are thinking of this, so we are not really actually ourselves building in our association anything, but information sharing, advising, and cooperation. And there are 5 important sectors such as cost of living. I will give you a couple of examples on that later. We want to have our properties in good condition, and there you need different solutions, such as today in a previous presentation, Kirsi Maria was telling excellent material and kind of center where we can find the information, and we do cooperate also with Motiva a lot. We also want to enhance that there are different possibilities for organizing your living conditions in your different parts of life, because there are needs and they change when you get older. And of course, the favorable economic, legal and fiscal conditions are very important when we think about the owning of your own house and all those legal kind of regulations and laws. There are around 75 laws in Finland actually that covers your living conditions in different parts of your life. So that is quite a lot of legislation. And of course, we want to have our living environment as are comfortable. And then we go to the examples, couple of cost of living, some about the regulations. And as I already mentioned, the different forms of housing, that is important if you think about, for of course, even in the perspective of sustainable life and living. But let's go to the examples now. Example 1 is about the general cost of living in Finland. And we have, of course, different kind of assumptions behind, and I'm not going to go here through all those in details, but you can find this information in our web pages, omakotiliitto.fi. Unfortunately, these information are in Finnish, the reports, but still you might find them useful. We just had conducted our this year's survey about the cost of living, and one of the results were that they had the difference in different parts of Finland have almost doubled in last year, and it is around 3,361 euros at the moment. The most expensive area we found that was in Leppävirta in eastern parts of Finland. And actually the least expensive city was in Kempele, which is very close to Oulu. The average cost is around 4,878 euros per year, and these numbers include property taxes, waste, water, electricity, also the daily use as well as the heating. And why this cost of living has been increasing so much is mostly due to the daily use of electricity that has increased more than 30%. And if you think about the fact that on average, the share of the cost of living from incomes by households is around 20%. It varies a little bit less than 20 and around a little bit more than 20. So you can see that it is a very big part still that affects to our household income and how we can use it to other consumption. And for example, make the renovations to become more energy efficient. And here is a short table just about the differences between different areas, as we have these 14 districts in Finland. So this is division of the districts in these areas, and you can also find this information from our web pages. Then we can go to the example 2, and this is still about the cost of living. We have this concept of electricity transmission pricing in Finland, and as we all know, it has been now extremely rapidly rising in past year and even past months or month. And the price of energy still has been in our issue when we talk about the electricity transmission pricing. It started in 2013 when we had big storms in Finland, and many areas experienced long lacks of electricity, even a week or so. And after those storms, our government set new rules for the electricity companies that distribute the electricity, that the network has to be more weatherproof, and they started make incentives for the companies. Well, the good thing is that now at this moment we have a quite weatherproof network and grid in Finland, but there was a little bit of dark side too, and that was coming out to the consumer's purse as a form of very much higher electricity transmission costs. And because of that, we started a lobbying it was before I came here, but 2021, we had a citizens initiative about this pricing. And the aim was to get the, let's say, high income surplus reduced so that the reasonable pricing for consumers could be restored. And after that, we have been still working on this issue, and the government actually promised that there will be return and compensation around 350 million euros. It is still in a process, so these things take quite a lot of time when you do the lobbying work, but still we hope that this will be in our agenda and will come also to the consumers' own home in benefit of lower pricing. And if we think about in general this increase in interest and the rising need for advice in energy solutions, as we have been hearing today in interesting presentations before me, people have been started to be more interested about the locally produced energy, which will be also part of the EPPD, and also a question of cost of living. Then we go to the third example of regulation. And as I already, I now see, sorry about this, there was like this last line of last page again here. But anyway, so what we are doing in Finnish Homeowners Association is that we give a guidance also at the professional level, but also on a peer counseling level. And that's actually quite important part of the local association and the operations. There are so many good ways, as we just heard in Motivas that speak, that we have to share, we have to try, we get new information, and we believe that this is also a very good way to enhance greener solutions for small houses and vacation homes, and also act as a kind of like a inspiration to do something good in your own houses and homes. And in a way, I have to say that we, of course, support all these ambitional targets, what have been, for example, in this EPPD suggestion, but we see lots of worries when we are taking the view of the small person as a private citizen and the obligations of the regulations. And so that's why we hope that the recognition of the need for the climate actions, even on a faster phase due to the European situations, might give a new path to act and go forward with all these important renovations. And here are some of our worries about the very detailed regulations. But in general, we do welcome more carrots instead of sticks. And as we have had this long history since 1997 in Finland that we have been promoting this energy efficiency in buildings and trying to get new ways to do in our climate situation, which is like a natural incentive to enhance this efficiency here in our buildings. So that's why we want to continue the hard work and hope that we get to the good resolution in the coming years. And actually today I was just receiving information from the Ministry of Environment, and the Finnish government has published their EU letter regarding the state's views on this EPPD matter. So now we can see also how the Finnish state is acting on this. Then we go to the last example I had about the energy poverty. And this is actually a very interesting area, because for what we know, there is no actual official definition in Finland at the moment. And the risk for the energy poverty in Finland, we think what we can say about it. We have been a partner in Assist project a couple of years ago. It was a survey called Energy at Home. And in that survey, we found some information that more than 12% reported that they can afford only electricity, food, and heating. Almost 15% reported that they use more than 10% of the household incomes to the energy costs. And almost 5% reported that they cannot have proper heating and temperature level in their homes. And we see that it's very important that we survey and get more information about this subject. And actually last week, our Minister Lintilä announced that they will start a new survey about this phenomenon of energy poverty, because in Europe it is much more widely known, but still we don't have so much information about the Finnish situation. And of course, this is one of the ways we have to understand first that we can go forward to the sustainable solutions in energy efficiency, and to have the energy cost in some decent level. But here is my presentation. Thank you for your interest, and as I mentioned, you'll get this later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marju. I have one question. If someone wants to join the Finnish Homeowners Association, how much does it cost?
Actually, that's a very good question, and that's around 25 to 30 euros per year. So it's not really that much all. We always say that if you call once to our advising services, you'll get that back.
So it's basically just 2.5 euros in a month. That's nothing compared to benefits.
If you call to the lawyers, they charge you 200 euros per hour, I think.
And
the advising is free. So that's really good. So if you're interested, so we are happy to tell you more about our association.
Yes, actually I am a member of the association. So
so there are 2 members and maybe some other 2. I didn't ask about that.
Okay.
I have one question also. Do you have sponsors, like business partners who supports you, or who's giving you advices for their services about thing?
Yes, we do have, for example, this kind of superb membership type. And there are lots of different expert companies that can also provide their information regarding on what issue and field they are operating on. But mainly our finance is covered by the membership fees. But we do have also cooperation with companies.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I leave the door to the next speaker.
Thank you. How are you?
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. There we go.
All right. I'm Maurits Ketola from Vifotech in western part of Finland. I represent the company Ecc in Finland. We are the importers. Ecc is an Austrian company specialized in pellet boilers only, started in 1989. And today we have about 135,000 heating systems installed worldwide. Next. This is a schematic picture of an Ecc house. You can see in the cellar we have the pellet boiler, we have a storage tank for pellets. That's a flex silo compact. And then you have a thermal storage tank, a buffer tank. And also solar energy is connected to the system, either PV or solar collectors for heat. Next. A typical pellet boiler will replace annually about 8.5 tons of CO2. Next, click forward. And we have saved about 9 million tons CO2 since the start in 1989. That's 3 times more than savings of all Tesla electric cars. Next. Why I'm here today is because Ecofin has a product, an Telematic E, that is a condensing pellet boiler that produces also electricity. And the system is, like in this picture, consists of a pellet boiler, condensing pellet boiler with a buffer tank. You have photovoltaic panels, you have a hybrid inverter with battery pack, and then you have the Stirling engine. With this system, you can be completely self-sufficient. You can be completely off-grid. You can also be, of course, connected to the public grid. Next. The product features of a Condense E is you have this extremely compact condensing boiler with an electric heating output between 10 and 16 kilowatt. And on that you have installed a Stirling engine with a maximum 1 kilowatt, but nominal output is 600 watts. The Stirling engine don't need any additional maintenance. There are no wear parts that you can change. It's very silent. And the technical life of the design life of a Stirling engine is about 50,000 hours. Next. Next. This is the energy balance of a typical, or we call it Stirling house. The orange staples are energy produced by the PV panels, and the green staples are the electric energy produced by the Stirling engine. In this case, the total energy consumption is about 12 kilowatt hours per day. Next. And here we have a sample day, the 25th of January 2018, in a place in Austria. The black line you can see here, you see with the electricity demand in the house. As you can see, there are peaks in the morning, midday, and in the evening. And the blue line is the charging state of the battery. And the orange fields. The orange field is the energy produced by the PV panels. That's during the daytime. And the yellow fields are energy produced by the Stirling engine. During this day, 8.4 kilowatt hours came from PV, 5.2 kilowatt hours from the Stirling engine, with a running time about 9 hours, and the total usage was 13.6 kilowatt hours. No grid electricity at all. This system is, of course, very expensive. As an example, I can give some figure. It's about between 40 and 50,000 euros. So a system like this is normally not used when you are on the grid, but if you are off grid and the connection cost to be able to get to the grid would be very high, then it can be motivated. Next. Next. This comes not in the order I had it, the last variation here now, but I take it like this. Besides the main products, of course, are normal pellet boilers. both conventional and condensing boilers. And the pellet storage units solutions, the pellet storage can be like this in the picture with the compact Flexheiler Compact, which takes very small space, or you can have a own built storage. In all systems you have a buffer tank, as the Ecofan boilers don't make domestic hot water. Next. We have two segments in Ecofan. The Ecofan brand is the premium segment with a lot of variations from 4 kilowatt up to 256 kilowatt, with hand filling and with suction from big storage tank. And then we have also a very affordable solution called EasyPel. It's produced by Ecofan using the same combustion technology as in the Ecofan brand boilers. Next. Next. And here you see a few of the models existing today. Next. Common for all Ecofan and EasyPel boilers is what they call the ECC technology. It's called efficient combustion control, and that is consists of a multi-segment burner plate with the pellet feed either from the side or from under in the center of the burner plate. In the combustion chamber, there is a temperature sensor that monitors the temp in the combustion chamber constantly, and one other part is the negative pressure monitoring in the combustion chamber. The result of this is very low emissions, particle emissions, and you don't have any build-up of dirty material on the inside of the boiler. So when you clean this boiler once a year, the only tools you need is a soft brush and a vacuum cleaner. Next. I talked about the pelematic condense. Next. The condensing technology, the result of this is that you get an efficiency more than 100%, and this of course sounds a bit funny, but this is because fuels have two heating values, the lower heating value and the higher heating value. In the lower heating value, there is no consideration of condensing heat. So to be able to compare these condensing boilers to conventional boilers, you must refer to the lower heating value, and that way you get the efficiency number of 107%. Of course, physically, if you compare the efficiency with reference to the higher heating value, the efficiency is 99%. One big benefit of the condensing technology is the cleaning of the flue gas, as small soot particles in the flue gas will stick to the walls of the condenser and then will flush to the drain instead of going out through the chimney. And this might be a good thing if you are in a very dense built-up area, because from a Ecofan condensing boiler you won't see any smell, any smoke, you can hardly see it. For the condensing boiler to work perfectly, you would need a low return water temperature from the heating system, but condensing boiler can be used in any heating system, also with radiator heating. Next. There you have these the difference between a standard boiler with conventional technology and a condensing boiler is about 16% in efficiency. Next. And condensing boilers can, for small houses, is available from 3 kilowatt up to 32 kilowatts. There are also a Maxi series with the heat output up to 64 kilowatts for bigger buildings. Next. And this is a schematic of the boiler. Next. We have also another hybrid boiler, the Pelematic Smart XS. Next. This is a boiler with the inbuilt buffer tank, 335 liters. On this you can use connect directly PV system. You can connect solar collectors, and it's a very efficient small size construction. And in this one you have the integrated domestic hot water production. So only thing, if you have a buy an XS Smart, the only other thing you need is a pellet silo. Next. Next. And the newest innovation from Ecofin is the zero flame. The Austrians call it the fire reinvented. Next. This was developed, has been in the development for many years, but it was published in 2020, and it's a new combustion technology, and this is the cleanest pellet boiler ever built. Next. Next. Here we can see a comparison between on the left side you have a normal condensing boiler. Here you can see the flame. The dust emissions from this boiler is also very low, but if you look at on the right side, the middle part there is with the zero flame variation, and that flame is not really visible. And there is a video on the right where you first see with the flame, and the next after that with zero flame. Next. This is how they in the lab demonstrates that you cannot hardly see the flue gas from the boiler. Next. Next. The zero flame addition to the condensing boiler is very simple for the user. There you don't need any electric particle filter to remove the dust or the small particles. It always works. Works also in startup and stop phases of the boiler cycle. Don't need any additional maintenance. It's a very reliable technology and low cost. For example, if you buy this addition to your condensing boiler, the cost is about 600 euros. Next. The emissions from this is official test results. The dust emission in milligrams per cubic meter, normal cubic meters, is between 0.5 and 1.6 milligram. Next. Here's a comparison with other types of wood burning. On the right, in the red area, you see low-tech wood log boilers. Emissions about 150 milligrams. If you have on log gasification, wood gasification boilers, you can come down to 50 milligrams. If you have a conventional pellet boiler, you are in the green area, about 30 milligrams. You have a Pelematic condense boiler, it's about 10 milligrams, and furthest to the left, you have this Pelematic condense with zero flame, and it's hardly measurable. It's below 2 milligrams per cubic meter. Next. And here you can also see comparison to other dust sources you find in your home or in your living. The tire wear from your car for 15,000 kilometers is about 450 on this scale gram. Fireworks from a household in Germany, about 100 and burning 3 tons of pellets, wood pellets in a Pellematic zero flame condensed boiler is about 50 grams totally. Next. And thank you for your attention. I couldn't go through very much in this short presentation. We have a lot of different products and very efficient. All products are efficient and very clean. You can find more on our website, wifotech.com, or on Ecofen's many sites in different languages. Thank you.
Thank you, Maurits, for your excellent presentation. I have one question, actually. What do you think, has the demand of the pellet boilers increased in the recent years? I suppose because of this, all the renewable energy is coming and so on. So have you been selling more and more of these boilers?
Yes, during the last 6 months, it has really exploded. Not so much in Finland yet, but it's coming. One problem in Finland is that the government, everyone is talking only about heat pumps. They don't mention pellet at all. And in my opinion, and now with the energy prices on electricity and everything, in the long run, this pellet, if you use a pellet condensing boiler, it's cheaper than a heat pump. And also one thing that we also stress very much is that you get, with a pellet boiler, you get heat also when it's cold. And that's a good thing.
That is true, because I have studied also these GHP units and find out that the heat electricity ratio is quite low. It's about 10% only. So if you install solar panels, so it's going to be a hybrid system. That's more advisable, I think. What do you think?
I have a hybrid system in my own house with both PV panels and solar collectors and a condensing Ecofem boiler. And I have a total energy costs for my house is with heating and electricity is about 1,500 euros a year. And my house is 280 square meters.
That's nothing. So, yeah, okay.
So when I looked at the living costs, was shown in other presentation here, I did a quick calculation. My corresponding cost is below 3,000 euros per year, including insurance.
Okay. Can you estimate the payback time for that kind of a system? Because that's one important thing.
Payback time, you have to compare. If you compare it to oil heating, it's very short. If you have a 3,000 house that uses 3,000 liters of oil today, you have an oil costs of more than 5,000 euros. If you put in a pellet heating in that house, you save 3,500 euros per year. And I did the example calculation for what an Ecofem system would cost. This is only without installation, and we are talking about 15 to 19,000 euros complete system. And it's cheaper than putting in slightly cheaper than putting in a heat pump, but the difference is that the maintenance cost for a condensing boiler is lower than on a heat pump because the spare parts, you don't use many spare parts at all, but they are also very cheap. You don't have to change over some 5,000 or 6,000 euro unit every 10 years.
Okay, well, I think that last piece answered a question that we had in the chat about how much about the maintenance. It looks like Silva has a question as well.
Yeah, I'm very sorry, my internet connection. Do you hear me, or is it very strict?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Was gone, so I missed a lot of that. What is a pity, because I think that was a very interesting presentation. Just two questions. First one, Is there still a lot of oil heating in your area?
Yes,
First-
there are.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's in Finland. I guess it's still 200,000-300,000 houses heated with oil,
Okay.
small houses.
Okay. And the second question is, do you know anything about availability and representation and installers in Sweden?
There is a representative in Malmö.
Okay, very far away.
But we have an agreement that I can take care of northern Sweden also.
Okay.
Because I'm closer. I'm on the west coast outside Jakobstad in Finland.
Yeah. Okay, that's much closer anyway.
So I can drive to Luleå or maybe Kiruna in 7 hours.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, good to know that. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marit. I'm conscious we've gone a little bit over, but we had some really interesting presentations. So does anyone have any last minute question or comment before we wrap things up? No, all good. Okay. Well, yeah, as I said at the beginning, obviously this whole seminar has some very timely presentations given the current circumstances with the costs and availability of fuel. So thank you very much, especially to all of our speakers. Really appreciate you joining us, and we will be sharing the recording and the slides. If anyone has any additional information that they're looking for and they're not able to find someone's email address or get in touch, please feel free to contact myself or Heidi or Markku. So again, thank you to the speakers. Thank you to everyone else for attending, and hope you have a lovely afternoon and weekend. Thank you very much again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks.